Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about oil. I love doing analysis on oil. I'm quite accurate on it, and it's quite easy to trade, surprisingly. And it's mainly because it's heavily sentiment driven, and the sentiment really is easy to read between the lines on. So there's going to be a commodity kind of video. I don't do too many of them, so perhaps this will help some traders. Now, from a technical perspective, already we can just reassess what really happened with oil. For those of you who don't know, I mean, you probably should if you're trading it, but let's talk about that. So you come down here and we got negative prices. Everyone knows that. Around the COVID time, people furiously scared, massively scared that people aren't going to want oil anymore, and they start paying people to get rid of it. And that's because the price fell so low. And that's a clear time where sentiment drove the market. And it was a perfect time to get long. I said about longing it many times down here because inevitably it was going to come back up. Okay, that is just fact. People need oil at this time. So, of course, it does come up. And you can see simply how many green candles there are in this move up. And that is because the sentiment changes slightly. People start to say, hang on a minute, we need oil. Okay, people are driving their cars and it comes up. So you hit this level up here, and again, this is where I told people to short, okay? Because just from looking at it, you should be able to see this is low, this is high, this is in the middle, okay? But anyhow, where we rest is off from this fall. Now, the reason why I find commodities easier to trade is because, as I say, they're heavily sentiment driven. In other words, the fall from this top just comes about as the news really pulls it down based on demand. Okay, so if people don't want it, the price is going to go down because the supply comes up. And you see news now about US fuel stocks, Russian caps on oil, loads of different things. Okay, so the demand is coming down. That has brought the price down rapidly. So your sentiment is quite negative at the moment. And it's your job as a trader to scale into the market as price falls. So what we can identify straight away is that our stochastic oscillator is way down. And again, we're not saying, okay, the stochastic oscillator is down, let's buy, let's sell our house. We're saying it's down. So that gives you the first indication as to why you wouldn't be shorting it, okay? If you're someone who's saying, yes, the sentiment is bad, okay, but I'm going to sell it, and suddenly it pops, okay, if it suddenly pops, you're going to be wiped out. And the chances of it popping are significantly higher than they were higher up, okay? So the level you're coming at now is key support, and that's why you're seeing a little bit of a bounce away. And we know the sentiment on this asset is pulling it right down, so we can swap to those lower time frames. And we can say, okay, well, where are the early exits? Okay, and I'm going to label them here. So you can see we're now hitting on one immediately. This would give you the chance to exit for a first round of gains because you've had a few dollars move. That's not too bad. I know it doesn't look like much on here, but when the sentiment is that poor, it's likely that you're going to get a pull down like that. And you can see how we're pulling onto this candle, and that's causing a bit of disruption. We're hitting on early MAs on the 4 hour. So we're looking for early exits, really. I would kill this if you had it long. And the only time you want to rebuy it is if it drops lower and you have a small size, okay? Because the market sentiment is strong to the downside, there's no point in whacking in. You've just seen it struggle to push up and it'll re-hit this level. So if you're watching this, I would probably, in my case, I would lightly short this, okay? If the sentiment had completely swapped, it would be different, but it hasn't. Okay, and we're likely to hit on early support. So your job in a market like this is to exit at early support levels. Now, the problem with this going back up, which it will eventually, I mean, even if it falls lower, it's going to come back up. We said that at the start of the video. You can see that there's so many of these levels to break down. And that's why I'm saying to exit and trade in stages, as we always do, because you're going to have to break each of these levels down. It's not entirely likely that you'll burst through past here immediately, because that's going to take you to $80 from 71, almost $72. So if you're going to trade this, you've got a good long technical level. The sentiment's not massively there at the moment, okay, but you want to just take early exits on any longs. And if you're going to short it, you would need to lightly short it over here, okay? because you're not interested in loading in. The price is already low for this move. Okay, so the move comes from here to there. Might be something better to draw that with than what I've chosen, but you know, if you look at how far price is going to rebound at this point, you've still got a long way to go up, and you can measure that with your fibs, as I normally do. So any shorts lightly here, any longs you can take lightly as well. I don't think we're going to smash right down below this yet. I had called this as an area for a while for risk-averse traders. In other words, people who wanted to hold off. I said at this level, take it lightly, because again, we're hitting it back, and you had a lot of problems around there. So if you took that lightly, you could probably kill it now, and you'd have a minor loss, but you would be in profit on the long you took later, which of course would offset the loss you took, and you'd be in new gains. So overall, guys, the point of this is to check the sentiment in the market, especially with commodities, because they're heavily sentiment based. Use historic price levels, and if you're in a market where it's getting slammed one way, then just trade lightly. You don't need to load in. You don't need to believe, okay, well, this is amazing, it can't go any lower, because it can. This is a good price. Don't get me wrong, this is a good price for a mid-level trade, okay? But the sentiment could pull it lower. So just trade it lightly. That's all you need to do. And just check the market sentiment and make sure you're in line with what's going on. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope it really helps, and I'll see you in the next one.